Hey y'all, how you doing? Welcome back to another edition of Driving with Dan. I recently made a Facebook post about the letters to the 7 churches in Revelation. And in the 7th letter to the 7th church of Laodicea, God has nothing but rebuke for that church era, which we know as the lukewarm church, which, as we know, we are in this current time frame. So I have all these people that I know, friends of mine, who go to church, which, if any of you realize, I do not. They go to different churches, whether it be Catholic, Mormon, Protestant, just whatever form it is, believing and telling others that their church is the one true church, and their church is the one that knows the proper way of Jesus. And if you don't follow their way, then you're going to hell, or you're not going to be saved. Blah 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 blah. Well, a little bit of common sense comes into play here. If you read the letter to the church of Laodicea that Jesus stated, where he does nothing but rebuke for that church, there's no good word, there's no future promise. He says he's going to spit them out. They're lukewarm. They're not of him. There is nothing good in that church era. So, with that said, if the Laodicean church age, the lukewarm church age, has nothing good to be said about it, then there is no good church. Period. There's not a single church today that teaches the proper ways of Jesus. Hold on, I gotta pass somebody. So nobody, not Catholics, not Mormons, not anyone, can claim they have the true way of Jesus, and it's their way or hell, pretty much, because Jesus says there's no good in the church, and it'll be destroyed when he returns. He's also standing at the door. So it means Jesus is ready to return very soon. And if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know I believe it's within the next 6 to 10 years. 12 tops, but I got a feeling it'll be before 10. Just got to look at things around us today. But back to the church age. Just go back into Revelation. Read the 7 letters to the different churches. These churches were church ages in history. Look back at the start of when Jesus was on the cross and started. You had the apostolic. Then you had the persecuted, was right after the time of Jesus and the apostles. You had the persecuted, those persecuted by the Romans. They've been persecuted all through time, but that time they were highly persecuted. You had the compromised, where things started being converted by pagans, where all these pagan converts started coming in, and the Catholic Church began to started becoming. Then you had the apostate, which started around 538 when the Catholic Church became the one true church. Moves on to the missionary, into the lukewarm. Folks, these are time frames in history. They're timestamps. So you can take these 7 letters, you can look at the 7 church ages, and you can line them up with the 7 seals and the 7 trumpets of Revelation. And if you do this, you will find out that we are now between the 6th and 7th seal, between the 6th and 7th trumpet. On the 7th trumpet, it'll also happen the same time as the 7th bowl, because those are judgments. That is when Jesus returns. And we are right there. We're at the end. We're at the 11th hour of the 11th hour, folks. So if you're going to church today, that's fine if you want to. Nothing says you can't. But saying my church is the right church and my pastor has the right correct theology, I don't believe anybody has 100% correct theology, and I don't believe you need it. You do need certain things, and what they're preaching today in churches is not the true way of Jesus. If there was just one church, and this was proven by Sodom and Gomorrah, if there's just one good church out there, just one, then God would save the church. But there's none. They will be spit out. They're lukewarm. They will be destroyed. God right now is separating his people. He is calling them out from the beast system. He's getting them out. His chosen elect. They're walking walking away, their eyes are opening, and this will happen all the way up to the final sealing of the 144,000, which once again, folks, is not a number of people, it's just a number of completion. So when the final sealing takes place, people's eyes will be opened up all the way to that last moment. It could be when a loved one that they called and turned in because of whatever, that they got drug out to jail, and at that point in time their eyes open going, oh, I was wrong, they were right. But God will open up the eyes of his elect in his time. We're in that church era of Laodicea, the no good church. That means every church today is not of God, is not teaching God's way. Now, I'm not saying there's not elect in these churches, because there are, but God will call them out. And if you know what a remnant really is, a remnant is a small amount, folks. It's not a big majority. It's not a big minority. It's a small amount. So, and you got to remember the remnant he speaks of is the remnant of the end times. Because there was chosen elect all throughout history. I don't believe there to be all that many, but there were. So just keep in mind, if you're attending a church, by all means, maybe you can help some people out. But thinking that your church is the right way and what they teach is the correct way, I can tell you right now, by the words of Jesus himself, not mine, these aren't my words, that by the words of Jesus, that church is not the way of God. Because if it was, the church wouldn't be destroyed. And they will be destroyed when Jesus returns. This is what he states. When he returns, all evil will be destroyed. The church, the unholy church of Satan, which is tainted and compromised by Satan, every aspect across the board. The mother of all harlots, the Catholic Church. If you look at the creation of all other churches, all other denominations, they all sprung from Catholicism in some way, shape, or form. They all come from the mother church. And Catholic Church will tell you it's the mother church. It accepts nobody as a sister. They're all daughters. So if they're all daughters, that makes her the mother, right? That would make her the beast. So step away from the beast system. Do your thing. Believe in Jesus. Worship on any day of the week. It's fine. But if you are made to be forced to worship as the day of rest in honor of the Sabbath on Sunday, you're falling for the mark of the beast. Remember that. God's Sabbath is on the 7th day, and on our current calendar is Saturday, and that's what we go off of. Keep that in mind for future reference, folks. I will be doing a short video on the Sabbath and its truths, on which day it really is. So, I love y'all. Please remember, I'm not saying everybody who goes to church is bad, or damned, or going to hell. No, I'm not saying that at all. Nowhere near it. But to claim that your church is the one true way, that is what I'm nipping in the butt. Because Jesus says, no, it's not. And he will destroy all that go against him. So remember that. I love you guys. Remember, we live in a dying world. Don't get all down and depressed. God will see us through. He will protect those he has chosen to protect. So stay true to his word. Stay studying. I love you much. Enjoy the nice weather. God bless.